In this video, I'm going to share with you what I think is possibly the most important lesson any golfer can ever receive, and that's having a conceptual understanding on a little more detailed level of exactly what it is you're trying to build when you're working on your golf game. What your mind conceives, your body can achieve. If you have the right concepts, boy, then the tips that you learn day in and day out here on the internet, they tend to make a lot more sense to you. So what you're going to see is an excerpt from one of my golf schools. You're going to see a setup that I learned from Andy Plummer in his Stack and Tilt program, which also has its origins in the teachings of Mac O'Grady. So as a coach, when you stumble upon great information that you see helping students day in and day out, you put that information into your program. So I want to make sure I give credit where credit is due. The other thing about golf is it's a journey, and you have to have the right mindset towards building sustainable skill over time. I got a great mindset lesson here in this video. It really helped me. I think it'll help you too. Let's dig in. So what you're seeing right here, these sticks on the ground, this is a two-dimensional map of the golf swing. So we have a target line right here. This stick right here represents my left shoulder position projected onto the ground. So in golf, your lead hand is your primary connection point to the club. So if that's true, we would say that your lead shoulder is the center of the circle, right? So right here, that's the center of the circle. And if this is the center of the circle, below my shoulder would be the bottom of the circle, okay? Now, the bottom of the circle also lines up with my left heel pretty nicely. So when I'm setting up right here, I have my left heel on the stick. Now when the ball's on the ground, we have to hit a little bit down, don't we? So I need to put my ball position to some degree inside of or behind my left shoulder, which is the swing center. And you can see that we have a stick right here and a stick right here. Right? This represents the arc of the swing. Right? This is the back side of the arc, this is the forward side of the arc. We have to plan an arc because we're not standing on the target line. We're standing to the side of the target line. So by nature, golf is called an offline game. Just like some strokes in tennis would be offline games, a sidearm throw would be an offline game. If I was playing a game like basketball, I would be standing on the target line, wouldn't I? So basketball is an online game. And if I'm trying to be accurate with my shot, I have to move in a linear or an online fashion. Same thing with pool, same thing with darts, right? So golf is an offline game, and to be good at an offline game, we need offline movements and attitudes. So we have to play in a pure arc or circle, right? So when I put this ball inside of my lead shoulder, in this case, I'm playing 3 balls back. Some players prefer about 2 balls back. That's just going to change the amount of curve I can hit on this shot, right, relative to the target. But when I put the ball inside the swing center, I naturally hit down, but by virtue of hitting down, I'm also naturally hitting a little bit out to the right. Does that make sense? Okay. So when I swing up, the club head is tracking on its own little arc right along this line, making a circle around the axis. This stick right here, that's where my hands are going, on their own little arc. So notice that nothing here is moving in a straight line. The club head's not in a straight line. My hands aren't in a straight line. Everything's moving inwards. If I was standing straight up and down and I put my fingers right up against the wall, the moment I start swinging, my fingers will move inwards away from the wall. So I'm playing on a circle. So this stick right here took the 2-dimensional map and made it 3-dimensional. Right? So now see how the club shaft is going to go right up that plane. See that? And I come right back down that plane. If I'm coming down that plane, can you see how the shaft I'm swinging is now matching, right, the back side of the arc? Well, for a lot of you that hit pulls and slices from the top of your swing, you're already on the front side of the arc, see that? Right. Talon, come in here and put the stick by my shoulders, right? So this would be the shaft plane. Now Talon's going to show you my shoulder plane. See where my left arm is at the top? Right. Back down the plane. I meet the ball while the club is traveling down and slightly out. And now my turn or pivot brings everything back around again. So we're trying to make a circle around an axis on an inclined plane. And that naturally occurs because I'm playing an offline game, not an online game. That makes sense? Right? So, like I said before, what your mind conceives, your body can achieve. And if you don't have a map, if you don't have a destination, well, you could literally wind up anywhere. You know? When I left my house this morning, I said, I'm going to Pronghorn to meet with my class. And in my mind, I said, I go to the bottom of my street, I make a right, I drive 2 miles, I make a left, so on and so forth. The map literally dictates my movement. And I end up here. But if I don't have a map and I don't have a destination, then how am I going to learn how to move? Right? So a lot of times people look at this and they go, this is too complex. Well, you know, it's only complex if you don't give yourself a moment to try and understand that this golf club is already built on this angle. And I'm standing to the side of the ball. So if I can feel a pure circle around my spine with the club trying to stay on about the same angle it was built, back, down, and through, then I'm already winning, right, in the mindset category relative to what I'm trying to build. And then I understand that the club is built on this angle right here. So when I meet the ball, it would be great if I could meet the ball with the shaft on that angle. And to have the shaft on that angle, it's a lot easier to do that with my weight forward versus my weight back. And if I'm swinging the club on this inclined plane, then the club face makes a left-hand turn. Whereas when I swing the club on this plane, it makes a right-hand turn. Right? So now I'm playing an offline game with offline movements and attitudes, trying to build my technique around the design of my equipment. And if I practice in front of a mirror or put myself on video, if I know what I'm looking for, well, then I can start to make some mindful adjustments. In order to become different from what you are, you have to have an awareness of what you are. And sometimes you don't have that awareness. It's like when you're a kid, if you're chewing with your mouth open or if you're slouching, your mom says, you know, be different. You're like, oh yeah, right? So I have an awareness. I can make a change. Same thing in golf. Making those rehearsal swings. Where do they touch the ground? Well, I want to have them touch the ground on the target side of the ball, so I'm just going to see if I can do that. Brush, brush, brush. Rehearse success, walk up to the ball, trust the brush. Right? So everyone here has the ability to dramatically improve over where they are right now. But you need to have the right concept. You need to have the right tools. You have to have an awareness of what you're trying to build. Then you have to have a little bit of patience and will and a little bit of discipline. And you can literally learn how to do anything. One of my favorite stories is this Zen lesson about an idea of what's known as the black belt mentality, like black belt in karate. And as the story goes, the young student walks into the karate dojo. And the word dojo just means place of learning. So this is like our golf dojo. And the student stands before their master and says, Master, when will I be a black belt? And to the student's dismay, the master replies, well, you'll never be a black belt. For anyone who would ask that question doesn't have the patience nor the discipline to do what's required to become a black belt. And in modern culture, we have this colored system of belts if you sign up for a karate class. Day one, they give you a white belt. You learn something, you train, you demonstrate skill, and they give you another color, so on and so forth. And then at the top rung of the ladder is this black belt. Well, back in the day, there was no colored system. They handed you a white belt to hold your uniform on, right? And the term black belt came from the fact that after the hours, days, months, and years of training, that white belt physically turned the color black because it was so dirty. Okay? That was evidence of the time and effort and dedication that you put into the craft, right? Well, the true black belt understands that the learning never ends and the training never ends. They always show up to the dojo with the beginner's mind, which is the white belt mentality. Because the best position to be in to learn something is to assume, regardless of skill, that you know nothing, right? Tiger Woods, greatest of all time. He's showing up, seeing his coach back in the day saying, how can I get better? What can I learn this off season that's going to make me even more dominant during the next season? So what does the black belt do? Well, they continue training. And over the hours, days, months, and years, the fibers of that black belt begin to tear and fray until the white inner cloth is once again revealed. So they're trying to go from white to black, to white to black, to white to black. There is no destination. There's only learning and growing and learning and growing and learning and growing. Patience, will, discipline. That's the pathway to real skill. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson and now have some simple ideas you can apply right now to help you start playing a better game. You know, so many people show up on the lesson tee and they never considered how their golf club is designed and how to start building their technique around the design of the equipment. Absolutely critical when learning to hit better golf shots. Remember what kind of game you're playing. Golf is an offline game, and offline games require offline movements and offline attitudes to be proficient. As it relates to the road to achievement, remember the black belt mentality. The learning never ends, the training never ends. All you can do is show up each day with the right mindset, trying to get 1% better each day. If you do that over time, you'll end up where you want to be. If you enjoyed today's lesson, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, give us a like, leave those comments below. Until next time, best of luck with your game.